I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can. The portfolio assessment at LCC, what your mom never told you. What is it? Why is it? When is it? What is it? All right. Back in 1986, these two kind of famous guys in the field of composition studies, Peter Elbow and Patricia Belanoff, they got this idea about having students write papers for a, quote, real, unquote, audience rather than just for the classroom teacher, because people were writing articles saying that, you know, the writing was kind of fake, that students were doing in the first year writing classroom, and so they were trying to think about ways to make it more real. And so Elbow and Belanoff came up with this idea that students would write papers or letters or whatever, different kinds of writing, and then place it in a portfolio, like an art. It was based on the idea of an artist's portfolio, but this was for writing. And then these portfolios there would be a reflection where the student would give a rationale why they chose this piece and not this piece, and explain why they made the moves they did within the different writing. And then that portfolio would be reviewed by people other than the student's classroom teacher, which the way that it was always traditionally done was actually other teachers within that university would read these portfolios and then, you know, give some kind of evaluation on it. So that's where it came from. That's where the idea came from the Elbow and Belanoff 1986 model. At LCC, there's 2 essays required in the end of the semester portfolio. These essays are placed in a pocket folder, and 2 teachers read these essays. All identifying information is taken off the essays, so they're totally, the other people that read the essays that are in the portfolio have no idea about who wrote them. So just the student number is used instead of the name. So they're totally blind reviews. The classroom teacher does not know what other teachers are reading his or her portfolios. So it's totally a blind review. So in this review, there has to be 2 people other than the classroom teacher who give the portfolio a 2 or above, or else the classroom teacher is not allowed to give the student a 1 point above a 1.5, regardless of the other work the student has done in the class. If two other teachers agree that it's 2 or above, then the classroom teacher gives any grade he or she wants from 0 to 4 point. So all the portfolio review does is either say yes or no to the classroom teacher's power to give a grade between 0 and 4, or a grade between 1.5 and 0. It doesn't grade the portfolio. It just says whether the student is competent or not. The reviewers are other teachers at LCC, and right now sometimes they've changed this. It used to be 70%, but right now it's 65% of the grade, and the grade is based on the writing standards which you have available to you. Very traditional writing standards, content, organization, style, and mechanics, and those are the 4 categories that are evaluated, and you do this with pocket folders. This is just some information about the portfolio method that was invented by Peter Elbow and Patricia Belanoff in 1986. And I have a source there. The model introduced by Elbow and Belanoff required students to include self-reflective writing and involved evaluation of the portfolio by instructors other than the students. At LCC, I think within the last 2 years, they stopped requiring the reflection, so it's just the 2 essays now. Here's the pocket folder. That's what you're going to have one of those at the end of the semester to put your 2 essays in that don't have your name on them at all. And there'll be further information at the end of the semester on that. Why do they do it? There's always issues with different institutions on getting accredited, and there's growing issues like with kind of mapping onto the No Child Left Behind concerns that there's actually learning taking place, and so all institutions have to do a lot of different things in order to maintain their accreditation, and so this is one of the tools that LCC uses to maintain its accreditation. Another reason is to make sure that there's good teaching going on in the classrooms, and that students have reached a level of competency in this one particular area of being able to write this particular type of essay. And along that line, it's used to assess student competency. So the idea is if you haven't reached the 2.0 level of competency, then you're not ready to go on to the next class. When is it? At LCC right now, as I'm doing this, it occurs in week 14. Everyone turns in the portfolio in the pocket folder, and the class, for all intents purposes, ends early. Some teachers do different things with the week, what happens in week 16. Some have a full class. Virtual environments, things are handled differently sometimes. Sometimes teachers have individual conference with students, so that's up to the teacher. Let's see, as I'm making this, it's fall of 2008, and it's been 10 years that LCC has been doing this particular type of assessment. It used to be, I know in 121, when I began teaching in the year 2000 here, it used to be 3 600 to 800 word essays and a reflection, and now it's 2 800 to 1,000 word essays and no reflection. But basically everything else about it has been very stable for about a decade.